Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Harakakadash, double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Wanted to come out here. It's a good day. Over the weekend, the brothers was talking about some activity that's been going on and everything that's been going on in Israel. As you can see, the rebuke videos and the correction videos as far as the doctrine. The one thing that stands out is as we progressively get towards the end, there's always that reminder that you're going to have ungodly men of Israel who are going to be set up to betray brethren, to betray the Akyam. Every now and then you may notice the topic of spies and agents come up. Why is that? That's because as Esau continues to bring the squeeze on the truth, you have individuals who do questionable activity during the same times. So you can only expect to say like, okay, wait a minute, this just don't make no sense, because we sound an alarm that the devil's coming, but at the same time you see people doing questionable things. So we always get that reminder, because it's in the scriptures, about spies and agents and false brethren. And that's basically going to be the point of this. It's all a part of the ministry. That's why it comes up, because it is a part of the ministry. You read the book of Acts, the apostles had to deal with it. Paul spoke about it, had to deal with it. You find it in other scriptures about what false brethren, people who come in unawares, creep in unawares. And through the Spirit, you have to use the Spirit to weed them out. And even in the midst of that, you're going to have Israelites who are going to be set up in the end, who are going to set up other men to be persecuted or delivered up to the authorities, the powers that be. And we got some stories. I'm gonna read a few in just, I think, a chapter or two in the book of Maccabees to show you that it's always been a part of us. It's still here to this day. You got Jakes, we call them sellouts, right? Which the definition of that is really somebody who agrees behind the scenes to take a bag, to take a deal, to advance themselves at the detriment of others. They're going to be, they're in Israel as well. We was talking about that as well. You got just ungodly Israelites who at one point were a part of a camp, part of a teaching. They're no longer part of the teaching, no longer part of the camp. Maybe they were removed, they were kicked out, whatever it is. But because they're offended, or because now they got rebuked, called out, whatever it was, now they're just moved with bitterness to just devote their whole life and time into bringing down other brothers, or to try to bring down Great Millstone. You see it time and time again, right? And eventually they all run out of gas. Well, it just goes to show you that it's a part of the ministry. It's unfortunate. I wish that this wasn't a part of the ministry, but it is. It is. Because it's very bitter to me. But you got to remember, Judas was with Yahweh Shah all the way until the end, showing you that what? It's going to be a part of the ministry. And even so, Yahweh Shah knew the whole time. He knew the whole time, showing you that it's through the Spirit that these things must happen. So it's just a confirmation in the Spirit to know, like, yes, we coming into these times. We're going to see these things or witness these things. And if you are of the truth, you understand, then you should understand that it's very possible that it can happen. That's why we move even more with wisdom, and to accept the fact that it could be, this could possibly happen to you. Now, the word Greek for betrayal is paradiniomi, which just means to give into the hands of another. Right? To deliver one something to keep, use, take care of, or manage. To deliver up one to custody, to be judged, condemned, punished, scourged, tormented, put to death. Meaning to deliver you up to the authorities. Why? Because we know it's because of what? Because of the truth. It's a part of the ministry. So you got the book of Maccabees chapter 7. And I say this because, like I said, the brothers was talking about stuff that's going on in their camp, how they catching individuals secretly trying to draw away disciples from GMS under themselves, secretly. All these things going on, people trying to slander one another. That's another thing that's going to be a part of it, slander, because with the being delivered up comes with slander. You have to arm yourselves to really accept the fact that you're going to be slandered. You're going to be slandered, and you're going to be betrayed, in this case delivered up to the authorities or even to the world. And it's going to be lies. It's going to be lies. It's going to be things taken out of proportion. Whatever it is that can make you look bad to either the world, to the congregation, or to the authorities, it very well can happen to you. So if we go to the book of Maccabees, it's chapter 7. It says, in the 150th year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, departed from Rome and came up with a few men unto a city of the seacoast and reigned there. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysis to bring them unto him. Wherefore when he knew it, he said, let me not see their faces. So his host slew them. Now Demetrius was set upon the throne of his kingdom. There came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, having Alchimus, who was desirous to be high priest, for their captain. So you got a sect of Israelites who were Israelites, but they hated their own people. They hated the ministry, they hated the movement. You could say this Israelite movement. They hate what we're becoming, or what the Judas and his men they were becoming. They were relieving them. Well, actually, they were getting some breathing room from under the heathen. They were fighting. They were getting their land back. They were building the altars back. And you had a certain Israelites that didn't like that. So what did they do? They went to the king, in this case Demetrius. And you had one who was their leader, Alchimus, who was desirous to be high priest, which is is a position. It was a position when you read about during the Greeks, even during the Roman Empire. But you had the authorities like the Greeks, but then you also had the so-called police officers, which were our people, who had power under the Greek authority, and they were just given a higher position in this world. So you had Alchimus who wanted to be high priest. It goes on to say, and they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends, and driven us out of our own land. Now therefore send some man whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he had made amongst us, and in the king's land, and let him punish them with all that aid them. Then the king chose Bacchus, a friend of the king, who ruled beyond the flood, and was a great man in the kingdom, and a faithful to the king. And him he sent with that wicked Alchimus, whom he made high priest, and commanded that he should take vengeance on the children of Israel. So he was a traitor. He got kicked out of the land because they was being wicked. And instead of just doing right and going to live their lives, they said, no, we're going to go to the king and we're going to sell out our own people. So they went to the king, and he said, listen, king, you need to go get them. He didn't care. He said, you need to go and you need to kill my own brother and kill them because they kicked me out. I'm mad. Only grant me high priest, because I want to be the high priest. That's chief position. So they granted it to him, and he was giving them what? They were giving them information. Right? It goes on to say, so they departed and came in a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren, peaceable words deceitfully. But they gave no heed to their words, for they saw that they were come with a great power. Then did there assemble unto Alchimus and Bacchus a company of scribes to require justice. Now the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel that sought peace of them. So these were Israelites, mind you. It goes on to say, for said they, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with this army, and he will do us no wrong. So he spake unto them peaceably, and sware unto them, saying, we will procure the harm neither of you nor your friends. So these sect of Israelites, who they were known as the Assyrians, they said, oh look, they got a priest amongst them. So clearly they mean good, let's let our guard down, because we can clearly see that our people are in the midst of this great army. So then even they said, yeah, Alchimus, yeah, we ain't gonna do nothing to you. You are brethren. Goes on to say, whereupon they believed him, howbeit he took he took of them 60 men and slew them in one day, according to the words which he wrote. So he slew his own brethren. Why? So that he could show the leaders, the kings, like, I'm on your side. Why? So they can maintain that high position. And you have, I'm gonna jump out of here real quick, but you have Israelites even today in this society who, when they sell out or make a deal with the devil in this society, right? Why are they doing it? It's because they believe that since they're insiders and they giving their bodies to the Amalekites, they bent over, they do the blood rituals, they sacrifices, they bring forth degenerate music to the detriment of our people so that their pockets can get fat. They really believe that the devil, when he comes to set up his new world order, when he rides on the people, they believe in that promise that the devil gives them and saying that we're going to secure you, you're going to be secure with us. That's out in the world. And it's no different than Israelites that's going to know that they're Israelites. Mind you, this individual, Al-Qaim, he wanted to be what? High priest. So he knew he was an Israelite. He just wanted that position over his men and under the power of the king. Showing you that what? You're going to have Israelites today that's going to make secret deals and pacts with the devil, the powers that be, so that they can maintain a high position. And they do it because they believe that because they're delivering Esau Edom information, or because they're doing whatever it is they tell them, the deal that they made, they believe that when Esau Edom rolls on the people, they themselves will be spared. And the mistake that they always find out is that you're dealing with the devil, and the devil shows no mercy, and nobody is safe from his wrath, the people in front of him and the people on his side. And that's what all these people are going to be in the rude awakening for. You got like videos of Drake talking about building an underground bunker. I think even Rick Ross building underground bunkers. Why are they doing that? Because they know what's coming, and they believe that because they're so juiced in and they're so close and they blew them wicked elites rides and they giving them their body, they really believe they gonna secure me, I'm secure. And then they're gonna get that realization that the world to come, the Esau Edom, the wicked elite is trying to establish, they only trying to establish it for them. They, the small hand of a small few, they're not gonna give a shirt of wealth with you ninjas. They're not gonna do it. But because they know that they can easily offer some money and some goods to our people, they'll take it. The book of Proverbs 28, verse 21 says, to have respect of persons is not good. For a piece of bread, that man will transgress. Respect of persons is what? Having other men, whether they Israelites or heathens, in higher admiration, right? Because of advantage, as the scripture says. And that's not good, because said for a piece of man, that man will transgress. So if that man is able to get further ahead in this society, if that means stepping on toes, if that means he'll step on your toes, you don't want to be around that such an individual, because he will sell you out for his own betterment in this society. You can't trust individuals that have respect of persons and have Esau Edom in more respect or admiration because they're so-called scholars or because they're rich or whatever, but when it comes to their own people, this man, F that dude, he's a bum. So I'm gonna sit down with the devil and have more respect for him, but for you, the hell with you. You can't be around somebody like that. They will sell you out. As I said, for a piece of bread, that man would transgress. Just like Al-Qaim. Give me a high priest position and I'll fight with you against my people, and I can tell you their secrets. It goes on to say, he that hasteth to be rich hath an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come upon him. Yeah, because when you hasten to be rich, you hasten to coveting that high position, that with Esau Edom, making the deals with the system, right? Being joined into the system, thinking you're secure. You have an evil eye, because that means you'll do anything for it, and that includes selling out your own people, betraying your own people. And what do we just read what Trey means? Deliver them up to the wicked elites, deliver them up to the powers that be. And many have tried it, many have already tried it. Got testimonies of Israelites in these certain groups, like say like the guys in purple, the people who left there, one of the men admitted and apologized. He was given the authority from men above him to what? Make fake Facebook accounts, add people as friends, get their information, leaking information, going to people's brothers' jobs, telling them what they do to get them fired, to lose their jobs. Yeah, this actually happens from these men. That's betrayal, man. So if we go back to Maccabees 7, because it's going to talk about eventually he's going to get judged. Verse 17, it says, the flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them. It's quoting the book of Psalms. It says, wherefore the fear and dread of them fell upon all the people who said, there is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and the oath that they made. Verse 19, after this removed Bacchides from Jerusalem and pitched his tent in Bezeth, where he went and took many of the men that had forsaken him, and certain people also, and when he had slain them, he cast them into a great pit. Then committed he the country to Alcimus, and left him with a power to aid him. So Bacchides went unto the king, but Alcimus contended for the high priesthood. See? And unto him resorted all such as troubled the people, who after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel. So what did this Alcimus do? Went, got upset because he got kicked out, desires to be in the high priest position. He went to the powers that be and said, fight against my brethren, I'll deliver them up to you. Only give me position, give me a power, grant me priesthood. I want to be the high priest. And he actually went and slew his own brethren, and his brethren actually believed that he was coming with good intention, because they said, oh look, that's a priest right there, that's one of the sons of Aaron, we good. And he lied and said, yeah, we brethren, and he slew them all. He can appease the wrath of the king. Bacchides, who was also a heathen, said, okay, well listen, here you can have this land. And in that sense, he contended for that priesthood position. He kept what? Persecuting his own people, because this is his way of getting back at Judas. But you can read the story. I'm going to jump to his downfall, which is in chapter 9, verse 54. It says, moreover, in the 105th year, in the 2nd month, Alcimus commanded that the wall of the inner court of the sanctuary should be pulled down. He pulled down also the works of the prophets. And as he began to pull down, even at that time, Alcimus was plagued, and his enterprises hindered, for his mouth was stopped, and he was taken with a pulse, so that he could no more speak anything, nor give order concerning his house. So Alcimus died at that time with great torment. So eventually what? The Lord got him, and that's just one man. Then if we go to 2 Maccabees chapter 4, dealing with another wicked, ungodly Israelite who goes by the name of Jason, who also, again, you're going to read, desires to be what? Have a high position. And it's no different today. Look, you're going to have Israelites, like you got the Israelite group, one body in your house shot, right? I mean, just complete obvious that they're just actors and they sold out. They come up with the most outrageous so-called breakdowns, from the Lord really loves Esau, he hates Jacob, Moses didn't do any miracles, we're not going to be immortal, or whatever the heck they say. You can just clearly see that they're just getting a script to combat against what? The Israelites. And they're willing to take that deal because, one, they don't fear the Lord, two, they don't believe the Lord's coming back, and three, they really don't believe the scriptures. So Esau Edom, if you know how he operates, when he wants to infiltrate an organization or some type of movement, he studies them, any and all threats. And part of his goal is to try to what? Cause confusion, offset the prophecy. So he set up Israelites, learn our lingo, learn how we speak, learn how we teach, learn what scriptures we write. And then they go out there and they just try to lie to deceive as many people as they possibly can. So you just know that they just sold out. But our job is still to what? Defend the doctrine, defend the gospel. And you'll get mad, you'll be like, how could you do that? Knowing full well that what we're doing is just teaching the truth we're helping out our people. How could you do that? It's because they're ungodly men of Israel. And you're also going to have Israelites who, because they want to be a high position, Esau Edom can grant them that high position, but it comes with the cost. And it goes into certain doctrines, certain things you have to do. And that's why we say it's suspicious when we see certain Israelites doing certain things, such as going to camps with guns, I keep saying AKs, but assault rifles, bulletproof vests, all those things, when clearly the scriptures tell you that we are to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Going out there dressed like that, clearly just staying in the ministry. And you got to ask, well, why are they doing that? Well, because again, you have Israelites who are set up to bring the truth and the other Israelites into bondage and into captivity, really betrayal. And if Esau Edom needs that evidence, if they need that proof, because best believe, when Esau wants to make a move on you, okay, imagine what he does in sovereign lands. If he wants to be justified in invading a whole sovereign land and take their resources, he will come up and plant evidence and lie if he need to justify himself before the world. Of course, he's going to set up agents and plants in this thing of ours, this truth, to give them the evidence of us being so-called violent so that they can be justified in passing legislations to what? Shut down Israelites, lock people up. Of course. You just have to be aware. So if you go to 2 Maccabees 4, verse 7, it says, but after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes took kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, and now Onias is actually a righteous man, but he was being hated on by another wicked Israelite named Simon. Whereas when Simon figured out that he couldn't overthrow Onias, you know what he did? He ran to the, I think I know exactly where it's at. Yeah, it's a chapter before. I'll read this briefly. 2 Maccabees 3 and 4. It says, but one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city. And when he could not overcome Onias, he gat him to Apollonius, the son of Thraces, who was then governor over Celesyria and Phoenix, which I believe this guy was a Greek, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring into the king's hand. Now when Oponias came to the king and had showed him of the money, wherefore he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus, his treasurer, and sent him with the commandment to bring him the aforesaid money. So forthwith Heliodorus took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Celesyria and Phoenix, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children, and that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as that wicked Simon had misinformed. The sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold. I'm gonna jump down. I guess I keep reading. And that it was altogether impossible that such wrong should be done unto them that had committed to the holiness of the place, and to the majesty and inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world. But Heliodorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought to the king's treasury. See you later. Okay. It says, but the priests prostrating themselves before the altar, I'm sorry, verse 14, he says, so at that day which he appointed, he entered in on this ordered this matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. And I'm gonna stop right there on that story. So you see, all because he couldn't overthrow Onias. He was what? He turned into a woman, a literal hoe. I'm gonna just run to the king and I'm gonna lie. Look, king, you know, in that safe over there, or in their little treasury, they got a whole bunch of innumerable riches that they holding out on you. And it really belongs to you, you know. And the whole time this nigga knew exactly that that money was used for the widows and the fatherless. He knew that. But you see, that's what he did. So you're gonna have ungrateful, ungodly ninjas in this thing of ours, and they will do that. All because their butt hurt and their feelings are hurt. We deal with it all the time, on and off camera. Individuals get hurt maybe because they get cursed out, or maybe because they get rebuked, and they get suspended or whatever. Then they turn into whole hoes, man. And now their whole purpose in life is to get back at the ministry. Hey, listen, there's that, like, who was the name of that guy that made those little series of videos? He was a part of WFI at one point. I think it's called Hidden Enemies, Enemies from Within, something like that, right? So he made this documentary, that's what it damn near seemed like, of his time being in WFI. He made one video, which you watch it, and then it's messed up. You know, he's basically showing how he was wrong and other brothers were wrong, and then it was messed up. It was messed up, and we basically said, well, look, brother, we kind of try to warn you about that group, especially at that time, right? But, you know, you got a job to do. So, but then this guy goes on to make one or two more videos, and we're like, oh hell no, man. See, now you're just being emotional. Okay, you got wrong, you called it out. Now you know what you're supposed to do. Go out there and teach. And you guess what? You go to the channel, you see that he hasn't done any more videos talking about his lot was to make videos. So you see how, because he got offended, he used his talent to get back at the ministry. All right, but he won't use that talent of his to do a documentary on Esau. Why not? There's plenty of things to reveal regarding Esau, Edom, all them books and stuff you read. Where's the video and the documentary on Esau? Come on, let's go. Let's talk about Amalek. There's a lot to talk about Amalek, but you see, he's too emotional, and his feelings was hurt, that he just says, I'm just gonna get back at you, which in this case he was targeting WFI. But it's like, bro, okay, you were wrong. Pick your plow up, go out there and teach. And if you claim that your lot was just to do videos, but when's the last time you did a video on Esau, Edom, Amalek? Where's all that energy towards our enemies? See, but you got all the energy in the world to get back at your people, because our people know that really we're powerless in this society. But they know they ain't gonna say nothing to Esau, Edom, because they know who their fucking master is, man. It disgusts us to see that type of shit, man. Straight up holes, man. All the energy in the world to muster up. These motherfuckers come from the grave eating Cheetos and ain't just complete losers, to come out and to try to make one, if they could possibly at least make one brother's life miserable. Throw their government name out there and all this other stuff, saying where they work at, putting their address, all that on the internet, anything to make his life. They got all the energy in the world to do that, but won't go on the highways and byways and tell Esau, Edom, that he's the devil and he's going into slavery. Ungodly men. And as we're reading, they all have a horrible end. Yahweh Shem Yahshua don't let these people go. Like Simon, he got judged, okay, for turning into a damn hoe. And that shows you that you got guys, as long as they're good, but the moment they get rebuked or can't contend with that position that they want, now it's, well, I'm finna bring the whole thing down. Those are not brethren, those are false brethren, and the scriptures talk about that. So if we go to 2 Maccabees chapter 4, dealing with Jason, verse 7, it says, but after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus and Epiphanes took kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, because Onias was a righteous person, labored underhand to be high priest. Again, he's coveting after what? The position. And as we just read, having respect of persons is not good, for such one will, for a piece of bread one will transgress. Right? So so because he wanted this position, you're going to find out he also ran to the king. It says, verse 8, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver and of another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. So this dude took it upon himself to say, hey, furthermore, if you grant me this position, I'll even raise up our youth to be like the heathens. Only let me be the leader. Verse 10, which when the king had granted, he gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion. So he betrayed them, because the word betray, as we just read, is to deliver someone up into the authority of another. So he's delivering up his own people, even his youth, into the authority of the Greeks. Why? So that he can have a high position. Verse 11, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John the father Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for enmity and aid, he took away. And putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law. For he gladly built the place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. And this is why you hear us reference the book Jason, right? To individuals now who's so concerned about what? Wearing a hat, making it their goal out to wear a hat, which is against the what? Custom of the scriptures. It says, now such was the height of Greek fashions, and increase of heathenish manners, through the exceeding profanities of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastening to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus, called them forth. So you see, it eventually caused our people to go off. And you see why we warn you of these things? You call it hate, but no, we're reading the scriptures. You got individuals who set up for their own advancement, will sell out or betray their own people and bring the truth into bondage. Now, I was going to read his judgment. He eventually got judged because he ended up slaying his own people, and he actually got ashamed of it, so much so that he ran off to this place. They cursed him out there. He ran off to another place, and he eventually died. And then he wasn't buried neither. So eventually he had a shameful death. But I think I'm about to get hit with some rain here. So I'm just going to jump to Yahushua. Yahushua, at the end of the day, Yahushua went through it. So we got to go through it. I remember having to deal with people who do stuff, hearing stories like this, coming in the truth. And I was with the elder Uriah from Chicago, and just hearing how people turned into some holes. And I think, because you had individuals who left the Chicago camp, and they turned bitter, etc. And I used to say, man, I wish, why we even got to go through this, man? He said, look, Yahushua went through it, so we got to go through it. And it's true. As bitter as it is, it's true. Yahushua called Judas to serve him, and the whole time he knew that he would be the one to betray him. He knew the whole time. Imagine, do you know how bitter that is? Because they're having good times, they're having good nights, they're having some wine, they're talking, they're laughing, and the whole time you just know. And he'll throw it in there too. They're having a good time, probably at the wine or whatever, and he'll say, yep, when are you gonna betray me? So he knew. So it was on his mind, man. That's bitterness, man. So this is Matthew 17 and 22. And while they abode in Galilee, Yahushua said unto them, the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill him, and on the third day he shall be raised again. And they were exceedingly sorry. And again, that word betray means to be delivered up to the heathens. Yeah, it's starting to pour down. Matthew 13:47. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast in the sea, and gathered of every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to the shore, and sat down, and gathered the good into the vessels, but cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. So what's the parable behind that? Is this truth is gonna scoop in both the good and the bad. They're amongst us. They're gonna know that they're Israelites. It's just a part of the ministry. But he said what? He's gonna scoop them out in the end. So they're gonna abide basically with us to the end. And in the end they're gonna get their judgment. So, and it's just like the parable of the wedding. He brought both good and bad in the wedding. So you're gonna have the good and the bad amongst us, as bitter as it is. But we is in those times, man. And you gonna be surprised when you find out who it is that took the deal, took the bag behind the scenes to advance themselves further. To teach the name doesn't matter, to throw the name out the doctrine, teach you got to get legally married, you know, benefiting themselves and the state. You know what I'm saying? Going against the customs of the scriptures, teaching against the customs of the scriptures for their own gain. It's already written, and we have to go through that, man. You got people showing respect of persons for one another. They don't even teach the same doctrine, but they have respect for one another. Why? Because they're trying to gain advantage. So it's not about the truth with these individuals. And as the scripture says, what? It's not good to have respect of persons, for that same one, for a piece of bread, he will transgress. They don't care that they don't teach the same doctrine. They don't care that dude's going off on the name. He don't care. But because if he can possibly get a handout, he will do that, right? And he will lead all the men astray, and he'll sell you out. That's not good, man. You got to watch out for this. But I'll end it with this, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, because at the end of the day, we're commanded to be blameless as possible, and if any persecution come, let it be because of the word. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. We then, as workers together with him, beseech you that ye receive not the grace of Yahweh in vain. For he saith, I have heard thee in the time accepted, in the day of salvation have I secured thee. Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed, but in all things approving ourselves as ministers of Yahweh, in much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, in stripes, it's like in distresses, in stripes, in imprisonments, in tumults, in labors, in watchings, and fastings, by pureness, by knowledge, by long suffering, by kindness, by the Holy Spirit, by love unfeigned, by the word of truth, by the power of Yahweh, by the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left, by honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, as deceivers, yet true. So we must endure in the bad report or even in the good report, in honor and dishonor. You want to make sure that if you have received any persecution, it's for the word's sake and you yourself are blameless. All right? So with that, shalom.